You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button.
Well, I mean, you know, he's playing a position for the first time, so there's a learning curve there. He's learning how to play linebacker for the first time. You know, we put him in a position last year where he was see ball, get ball. Now he's in a position where, you know, he's got to get over the top. He's got a back coming out of the backfield. You know, he's got to be disciplined and you know, can't lose his eyes on the quarterback mesh. You know, fourth down. There's a lot going on there, and he's trying to sort it out. You're catching a young player early on in his career, and he's going through some growing pains.
Brian Kelly on Harold Perkins. A lot of the conversation, man. A guy that was so forceful, so impactful a year ago. They've changed positions. And although Harold Perkins was third on the team in tackles, he felt absent. Darry Beckwith is former All-SEC linebacker, 2007 national champ. He's always been good to us when we call on him. Great dude. And we talked to Darry, you know, about a month ago, man, right at the start of camp, and we talked about this Harold Perkins transition. And now that we saw it for a game, I wanted to get Darry back on to get his thoughts. Darry, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you doing today?
I've been better, but I'm awake and alive, and that's a great thing. So let me just start big picture. So you're a linebacker. No doubt you watched Harold Perkins. You trained your eyes on him during the game. What did you see from Harold?
I saw someone who is not familiar with the position. And when I talk about that, it's no indictment on Harold Perkins as a football player. Harold Perkins as a football player is dynamic. Harold Perkins as a football player is exceptional. I said a month ago when I came on your show, I said you will have growing pains with him at the inside linebacker position because he's a guy that's used to going get the quarterback and using a specific skill set. And now you're asking him to play off the ball, being able to read specific keys, having the ability to drop in coverage, get backs out the backfield, and that's something that he's going to struggle with. Now, you asked me a month ago, you said, Darry, do you think he will end up being a good inside linebacker? And I said, yes, he will, but like you said, he's going to go through a transition. But will he have the best impact on LSU defense being an inside linebacker? And I said no. And that's still the same case today. His impact should be rushing the passer and did exactly what he did last year. Because what you're finding out is if you don't have a pass rusher who's dynamic the way Harold Perkins is, our secondary, who's not that talented, will struggle. And so I saw a guy who was still trying to figure it out. I saw someone who was spanking too much and not letting his athletic ability and his God-given talent take over.
Darry, how quickly is it realistic to expect Harold Perkins can learn that position of play off-ball linebacker?
It's going to take all season. It's going to take all season. And the reason I say that is because it's the experience factor. Obviously, I didn't watch not one single high school game of Harold Perkins in his career, but I saw highlights. And every highlight that I saw on defense, he really wasn't making plays off the ball. He was making plays off the edge. He was making plays blitzing up the middle. So it's going to take an adjustment. Now, will he get better each game? Yes, absolutely he will get better each game. Yes, he's going to make some flash plays, but also at the same time, that's a whole new ball game that you're trying to get him to figure out, because people think if you're just fast and can run athletic, you can play the inside linebacker position. But the most important thing is your eyes. You have to be able to train your eyes. You have to have peripheral vision more than anybody else on the football field because you have to see so much. So it's going to be, in my opinion, a year-long process. If they continue to play him at the inside linebacker position, and from what it sounds like, I don't think they're going to make any changes right now. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a year-long process, and hopefully he will continue to get better. He will, make more flash plays. But I don't want the LSU fans to think that Harold Perkins is going to have a down year because you may not see the numbers, you may not see the sacks. It's just going to be an adjustment period until he gets comfortable with it. And Matt, I think sometimes as LSU fans, we get so caught up in the preseason hype and the talent that we have. But also, as from a coaching standpoint, when you watch this kid in spring ball and you watch him during training camp, he didn't just miss the backfield against Florida State, messed up on the mesh with the quarterback and running back. I'm pretty sure he did that in practice. So I just think this is one of these situations where I don't understand why they moved him. It's like saying All-American running back the year before, hey, man, we're going to put you as slot receiver this year. I don't get it. I don't know if they're projecting him for the NFL, but I promise you, even NFL, they can coach this guy to be an elite pass rusher.
Darry Beckwith is our guest. He's on Twitter at Darry Beckwith, former All-SEC linebacker, was 2007 national champ. You came in 2005 and stayed 4 years, team captain, everything. When did you feel comfortable as a Mike backer in the SEC?
After my sophomore year, after we played Auburn. I tell this story all the time. And I was fortunate enough to play linebacker off the ball my whole 3 years at Parkview Baptist. So I was fortunate enough to do that. My first practice ever in full pass at LSU, I'm going against Joseph Adai, Andrew Whitworth, who else on that team? We had Will Arnold at guard, Jamarcus Russell. We had Stelz's older brother at fullback. I can remember the first play we had in full pass. They broke the huddle. The ball was snapped. And, Matt, I did not move at all. All I saw was Joseph Adai running back to the huddle. He already ran 20 yards down the field, and I didn't move not 1 inch. That's how fast it was. And so it took me all of my freshman year. And then even me starting my sophomore year, I didn't get adjusted until the Auburn game after we played Kenny Iron. And I can remember the speed of the game was so much different than in high school, because in high school you're bigger, you're faster than everyone, so your room for error, you can mess up. I can go the wrong way on a counter play. I can have a false step and be able to recover and make the tackle. So it did take me a full year to get adjusted of the speed of the game to play the linebacker position.
Kendall Beckwith is your cousin, right?
Yes.
The best comp that I have, Darry, to what they're doing with Harold is what LSU did with Kendall. Remember, Kendall came out of high school and he was a freak show. And his freshman year in 2013, they said, "Hey, look, third down, just go off the edge and go rush the passer." And then in 2014, they moved him to inside backer, and DJ Welter was there. And Kendall was just an obviously superior athlete, but DJ knew where to be, how to get guys lined up. He's never going to make the mistake. But Kendall just had the higher ceiling. Eventually, that transition happened, and Kendall became an All-American. He was awesome. Like, does it make sense that for Harold Perkins, they're following that same path with him? Like, that's the idea is, yeah, we know that we could put you on the edge and you can go rush the passer, but your ceiling is so much higher doing this other thing, and we're willing to go through the growing pains to get you there?
I can say yes, but also it doesn't make sense. If Kendall came in as a freshman and he was played at DN position and he made the sacks, which he did, he made a few sacks, but if he was an All-American as a defensive end as a freshman, I guarantee you Coach Miles and his staff wasn't going to say his sophomore year, "Hey, man, go to inside linebacker position," even though that you wreaked havoc on offense your freshman year. Like, offense had the game plan around you. Lane Kiffin, who's probably one of the most preeminent play callers in the country last year, said, "Hey, Lane, what was the difference in this game plan?" He said, "When they put number 40 in." So when you have head coaches basically speaking out on how you had to physically stop one person as a coach, it's not a lot you have to think about. Like, this is the guy. This is who we should be playing at this position. If Kendall did that as his freshman year, if he just wreaked havoc and teams had the game plan around him, I promise you, Les Miles wouldn't have said that, "Hey, we're going to move you to inside linebacker this year." That wouldn't have been the case. Now, even Kendall himself wanted to play linebacker the whole time. He never wanted to play defensive end. So I think that's a different dynamic in itself as well. And Kendall also, people don't realize this, even though he played quarterback in high school, which is incredible. He was 6'2", 250 playing quarterback.
That was so unfair.
That's so unfair. That was so unfair. But also, people don't realize Kendall played off the ball in high school at linebacker a lot. So people don't realize that. They think of him being a quarterback, but he was off the ball linebacker, so he was familiar with that. And I just think in this situation, you don't want to mess up a player's confidence when it comes to things like this. Because I had a feeling this was going to happen. Had a feeling that because the game is on national TV, everything is exposed now. You have social media, everybody can see what's going on. And a player like Harold, you don't want to mess with his confidence. But hey, look, I'm not getting paid 7 figures, whatever it may be. So you get paid that much money to coach. You better make sure you know what you're doing.
Darry, I got a couple more for you. Darry Beckwith is with us, former All-SEC linebacker at LSU national champion, talking about Harold Perkins. Does LSU have enough off-ball linebackers that you'd be confident putting them there with Omar Spates and moving Perkins back to that jack position?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Greg Penn had 78 tackles last year. Greg Penn also lost 15 to 20 pounds this year to be able to play the inside linebacker position. So you're talking about a guy who played the position last year in Greg Penn, who I saw flashes that, okay, this guy can be pretty productive at the inside linebacker spot. I saw his best game was against Arkansas, and he got himself in shape. This year lost weight. I think he's a guy that can play with Omar Spates in the inside linebacker position and move Harold Perkins back to the jack position. You had a guy in the name of DeMario Tolan who ended up transferring to Auburn who would have been a great fit. They're talking about a guy who can flat out run. But the decision to say, okay, we're going to move Harold to the inside, that left DeMario Tolan kind of like on a whim. It's like, well, I'm not going to play. Let me get out of here. So I just think it's just decisions that they made and they should have made. And look, Matt, I hope I am completely wrong. I hope that they'll be able to rectify this, and if they do keep Harold inside linebacker this year, that he will go on to do great and wonderful things. But from an eye test, from an eye standpoint, I just think his impact will be at that jack linebacker position, using him in stunts. Even last night, they tried to spy a little bit more. But in order to use him as a spy, you have to have other people getting the quarterback out of pocket where he can chase the guy down, and they don't have that right now. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they have to figure it out. They got to figure out sooner than later because the SEC is still no joke. Looking at their schedule, those games are winnable, but every game is a toss-up.
He is Darry Beckwith. Man, Darry, if anything, man, they got a week this week with Grambling to figure it out if they want to tinker a little bit. So see what they elect to do. Great stuff as always, man. He's on Twitter at Darry Beckwith. We always shout out the Darry Beckwith Foundation as well. DarryBeckwithFoundation.org. Is that right, Darry?
That's it. You got it.
All right, DarryBeckwithFoundation.org. Y'all check out Darry's foundation. Do great stuff working with young people in our community. We appreciate it as always. Darry, you're the best, man. Thanks for a couple minutes.
Matt, appreciate it, brother. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.